Welcome to the U-Certify CompTIA IT Fundamentals Must-Know Glossary Terms. Term: Access Control List. Definition: a set of rules that determines access, such as which traffic gets through a firewall and which traffic is blocked, or who gets to access files or folders. Term: autofill. Definition: a feature that automatically populates fields in a form on a web page for you, such as your name, address, or credit card information. Term: backdoor. Definition: a method used to log into a system and avoid normal security methods. Term: cache memory. Definition: a storage area for frequently used data and instructions. Term: cathode ray tube, CRT. Definition: the classic video display technology that the first televisions were based on, and that can still be found in specialty monitors. CRTs have electron guns that fire electrons to cause phosphorescent chemicals on the screen to glow. Term: Central Processing Unit, CPU. Definition: the main integrated circuit of a computer system, consisting of an array of millions of integrated circuits that interfaces with almost all other components and runs application and system processes. Its purpose is to accept, perform calculations on, and eject numeric data. It's considered the brain of the computer because it's the part that performs the mathematical operations required for all other activity. Term: chipset. Definition: the set of controller chips that monitors and directs the traffic on the motherboard between the buses and components. Term: Chrome OS. Definition: an operating system created by Google, based on a Linux kernel and the Chrome web browser. Term: CMOS battery. Definition: a battery that provides power to the CMOS or BIOS chip that stores CMOS settings. A PC must retain certain settings when it's turned off and its power cord is unplugged. Term: collaboration software. Definition: software designed to make it easy to work with or communicate with other people. Term: connection delay. Definition: the amount of delay between sending a network data request and receiving a response. Term: create. Definition: a command used to create both databases and tables. Term: database dump. Definition: a one-time logical backup of a database. Term: device hardening. Definition: a method that helps a user to protect a computer by reducing its number of vulnerabilities. Term: digital subscriber line, DSL. Definition: a technology that uses regular telephone lines to carry high-speed internet. Term: docking station. Definition: it is a laptop-only peripheral that is basically an extension of the motherboard of a laptop. Term: dot pitch. Definition: the distance between corresponding subpixels in neighboring pixels, used to measure a monitor's hardware resolution quality. Term: fault tolerance. Definition: the ability to suffer the loss of a component and yet still have an operational computer. Term: file transfer protocol, FTP. Definition: a protocol in the TCP/IP protocol suite that is optimized for file transfers. It uses ports 20 and 21. Term: firewall. Definition: a form of protection that can be either a standalone system or included in other devices, such as routers or servers. You can find firewall solutions that are marketed as hardware only and others that are software only. Either way, their role is to limit the traffic in or out of the network. Term: flash drive. Definition: a small, portable USB storage device made of non-volatile solid-state memory, similar to writable floppy disks. Term: flowchart. Definition: a visual representation of a program that uses boxes to represent the logic. Term: graphical user interface. Definition: an interface that users use to interact with the computer. It contains pictures instead of just text and can be navigated with a mouse. Term: joystick. Definition: a game controller consisting of a central component with anywhere from a 4-direction to a 360-degree movement capability and one or more buttons. Term: Key value database. Definition: represents data as a collection of key value pairs and manages associative arrays of data. Term: keyboard. Definition: the most common computer input device for entering text with buttons labeled with the characters they represent. Term: keylogger. Definition: malware that records all keystrokes and sends the information to a file or a remote user. Lightweight Directory Access Protocol, LDAP. A protocol designed to query directory services such as Microsoft's Active Directory. Term: Linux. Definition: an open-source operating system kernel developed by Linus Torvalds in 1991. Term: malware. Definition: a broad term used for many attacks on computer systems, such as viruses, exploits, and worms. Term: markup language. Definition: a language that programmers can use to annotate, or mark up, text to tell the computer how to process or manipulate the text. Term: modem. Definition: a device used to provide internet access through the analog phone line. At the source, it takes a digital signal and converts, modulates, to analog, and then from analog back to digital, demodulates, at the destination device. Term: network address translation, NAT. Definition: a service that translates private, non-routable IP addresses into public addresses that can be used on the internet. Term: object. Definition: a collection of attributes, properties, and methods that can be queried or called upon to perform a task. Term: operating system. Definition: software designed to provide an interface between the computer hardware and the user, coordinate hardware components, provide an environment for software to run, display file and directory structure, and monitor system health. Term: OS X. Definition: an operating system developed by Apple and used on Macintosh computers. Term: plain old telephone service, POTS. Definition: standard telephone service, as opposed to other connection technologies like digital subscriber line, DSL. Term: plugin. Definition: a piece of software that gives a web browser additional functionality. Term: printer. Definition: an electromechanical output device that is used to put information from the computer onto paper. Term: product key. Definition: a unique code that comes with purchased software that allows you to install or use the application. Term: properties. Definition: describes the characteristics of the object. Term: RAID. Redundant array of independent or inexpensive disks. A form of fault tolerance in all but one version that allows the loss of at least one drive without compromising data. Term: RAID 0. Definition: the only type of RAID that is not fault tolerant and provides striped volume sets on 2 or more drives that allow for larger volumes than one drive alone can provide. When one or more drives are lost, all data is compromised. Term: RAID 1. Definition: a fault-tolerant type of RAID that provides mirroring and duplexing. 2 and only 2 drives exist in a mirrored set. The loss of either drive does not compromise data. Term: RAID 5. Definition: a fault-tolerant type of RAID that combines striped sets with distributed parity across all drives in the set. A minimum of 3 drives is required, and the loss of any one drive does not compromise data. Term: relational database. Definition: a database that is predictable and organized, with tables containing columns and rows of text or numerical data. Term: rootkits. Definition: software programs that have the ability to obtain root-level access and hide certain things from the operating system. Safe mode. A low-functionality troubleshooting mode that bypasses all optional components, both hardware and software, loading only the minimum required to display the desktop. Term: schema. Definition: defines as the rules and structure of the database. Term: social engineering. Definition: an attack in which people are deceived or manipulated into revealing information the attacker can use to access data they shouldn't access. Term, telepresence. Definition, a term associated with video teleconferencing. The goal of telepresence is to make it feel like people in different offices are actually sitting in the same office and communicating. Term, touchscreen. Definition, a type of display unit that uses capacitive or resistive touch as an input mechanism without requiring separate input methods. Term, trackball. An exposed ball that functions much like an inverted mouse. Term, Trojan horse. Definition, a rogue application that appears to do something useful but also does something malicious. Term, workstation. Definition, a computer that users use to access resources, most often a client computer on a network, usually a desktop or laptop computer. Term, virus. Definition, a computer code that inserts itself into an executable file. Term, access point. Definition, a point that allows a user onto a network. Term, ACL, access control list. Definition, a set of rules that determines which traffic gets through the firewall and which traffic is blocked. Term, adware. Definition, a category of application that displays unrequested ads on a user's computer. Term, application. Definition, a piece of software used to accomplish a particular task. Term, array. Definition, a list of values of the same data type. Term, assembly language. Definition, the lowest level of code in which programmers can write code. Term, autofill. Definition, a feature that automatically populates fields in a form on a web page. Term, backup. Definition, a restorable copy of any set of data that is needed on the system. Term, bus. Definition, a common collection of signal pathways over which related devices communicate within the computer system. Term, captive portal. Definition, a welcome page notifying the user of the conditions of the network, including which behaviors are permitted. Term, chipset. Definition, a collection of chips or circuits that perform interface and peripheral functions for the processor. Term, cloud computing. Definition, a method that enables access to remote servers for storing files or running applications. Term, cookie. Definition, a plain text file that a web page stores on the hard disk for tracking purposes. Term, crash. Definition, the term used to describe a situation when an application stops working. Term, database dump. Definition, a one-time logical backup of a database. Term, e-reader. Definition, a device similar to a tablet in size but optimized for reading digital books, magazines, and newspapers. Term, fault tolerance. Definition, the ability to lose a component or data and still have a functional system. Term, file server. Definition, a server computer that is specialized to store user files. Term, firewall. Definition, a hardware or software solution that acts as a network's security guard. Term, firmware. Definition, a software that is encoded in hardware, usually a ROM, read-only memory chip, and can be run without extra instructions from the operating system. Term, flowchart. Definition, a visual representation of a program that uses boxes to represent the logic. Foreign key, a column in a table that refers to the primary key in another table. Term, form factor. Definition, the standardized size, shape, and layout that determine compatibility with cases and hardware components. Term, gaming console. Definition, a computer with a single specialized purpose to play games. Term, hacker. Definition, a computer expert who is thoroughly familiar with and enthusiastic about the inner workings of a computer system. Term, hacking. Definition, a variety of computer crimes that involve gaining unauthorized access to a computer system or its data, usually with the intent to steal private information from or cause harm or embarrassment to the rightful owner. Term, headset. a device that combines speakers and a microphone into one device. Term: hypervisor. Definition: a software that allows multiple OSs to share the same host. Term: IDE, integrated development environment. Definition: a software package that contains a code editor, compiler, and debugger to help resolve problems all in one. Term: IoT, Internet of Things. Definition: the network of devices that are able to communicate with each other and exchange data. Term: IP address. Definition: a unique address to communicate on a TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol network. Term: journaling. Definition: the process of writing the file's changes to a special file called a journal. Term: laser printer. Definition: a printer that receives digitized data from a computer. Term: lightning. Definition: an Apple proprietary connector introduced in 2012 with the iPhone 5 and is used with iPhones and iPads. Term: markup language. Definition: a language that programmers can use to annotate text to tell the computer how to process or manipulate the text. Term: meaningful reporting. Definition: the process of translating data into insights and action for an audience. Term: memory bus. Definition: the pathway that delivers data to and from the memory. Term: modem. Definition: a device that converts digital signals from a computer into analog signals that can be transmitted over phone lines and back again. Term: network. Definition: a collection of computers and other devices connected together somehow to share resources. Term: NIC, Network Interface Card. Definition: an expansion card that connects a computer to a network so that it can communicate with other computers on that network. Term: online workspace. Definition: a workspace where multiple people can collaborate on the same file at the same time. Term: phishing. Definition: a form of social engineering where an attacker uses email to request missing information by disguising the message as a legitimate request. Term: physical schema. Definition: the actual tables, columns, and relationships created in the RDBMS, Relational Database Management System. Term: PKI, Public Key Infrastructure. Definition: a popular asymmetrical encryption technology. Term: point stick. Definition: a pointing device that uses a small rubber-tipped stick, usually right in the middle of the G, H, and B keys on the keyboard. Term: pointing device. Definition: a device that allows the cursor to move around the screen and point at desired elements. Term: pop-up. Definition: a small additional browser window that opens automatically when a specific web page is displayed or a button is clicked. Term: preemptive multitasking. Definition: a multitasking method in which the OS allots each application a certain amount of processor time and then forcibly takes back control and gives another application or task access to the processor. Term: primary key. Definition: a field whose data is used to identify a record uniquely. Term: printer. Definition: an electromechanical output device that is used to put information from the computer onto paper. Term: protocol. Definition: a set of rules that govern communications. Term: refresh rate. Definition: the frequency, times per second, at which the image on the screen is completely redrawn. Term: replay attack. Definition: an attack where an attacker captures information from a sender with the intent of using it later. Term: replication. A full working copy of whatever data, computer, or network that's being considered. Router: a highly intelligent network connectivity device that can connect multiple network types to each other. Term: runtime environment. Definition: a software and hardware infrastructure that supports running a type of code. Term: schema. Definition: the rules and structure of the database. Term: server. Definition: A core component of a network that provides resources necessary for users to perform tasks. Term: shareware. Definition: a software that provides a free trial with the expectation that users will pay for it if they like it and decide to keep it. Term: spam. Definition: an unwanted junk email. Term: switch. Definition: a network connectivity device that is at the center of most networks. Term: UPS, uninterruptible power supply. Definition: a battery backup system that a computer can plug into. Term: USB lock. Definition: a device that plugs into USB, universal serial bus, ports, and blocks their access. Term: watt. Definition: a unit of power. Term: workstation. A computer on which network users do their work, performing activities such as word processing, data analysis, database design, graphic design, email, and other office or personal tasks. Thank you for watching. Learn more with U-Certify.